You're watching Doug in Exile.
Subscribe to my son.
Thanks, Mom. Subscribe. We're having a good time here at the Tenaple household. Welcome to Doug in Exile. Guys, this is the biggest shift, I think, in American politics in a while. The opening of the eyes of the common man, of everybody, to how big of a liar media is and how big of a liar the Democrat Party is. They lied about Joe Biden. As bad as media was for the last year that we've been talking about them lying, they've been exposed, and now they're at the confession stage. Remember, they don't care that they lied. They only care that they got caught. So now they have to pretend to be sorry and pretend to care about the truth, not because they care about truth and not because they're sorry. They got caught. Here's one of the articles. This is Democrats told you the democracy is on the ballot and wanted you to vote for someone who wasn't even in charge. Remember when all of it was projection, they still had a giant projection that democracy was on the ballot. And remember, Trump won, Biden lost. They're implying that, they didn't even believe it then. The Biden staffers that got paid for that Autopen. This is on Jesse Waters. This is a new shocking revelation. And this is the kind of stuff that starts getting flushed out about the Autopen and Biden's decline, as everyone knows he wasn't in charge. Well, why were there like 1,200 death row inmates released with a presidential pardon and Biden didn't sign it? It was all Autopen. Well, Tim Burchett is saying that all of those guys were Autopen released because the Biden staffers and the people in his inner circle that were running the Autopen, they were getting paid off by Black Lives Matter, by all these criminals. Let's watch.
Biden was a ghost in his own White House. Republican Congressman Tim Burchett from Tennessee says those thousands of pardons that Biden signed, those were auto-penned, and White House aides may have gotten rich.
You're going to find staffers that were able to take forms, get them and run them through some sort of bogus legal system, and then they auto-penned them. And there's probably people out on the street that shouldn't be, but somebody got rich off that. And I think those people, I hate to say it, but you'll see something probably horrible happen to some of those people because it goes up the chain. This is a very dangerous town to play games in.
Very dangerous town. So that implies they're investigating. This is what I believe James Comer is working on investigating all of the Autopen stuff, and Ed Martin. So those are, I believe we're on the front end of this scandal. So you're going to see it develop more as they go into who were the people that were in charge of the Autopen, and was there some kind of an incentive for them to do things that just make no sense on why they did it. On Jake Tapper's fake apology tour,
almost nobody, or as far as we know, nobody really got in the president's face and said, this is a bad idea. You are going to be 86 at the end of this next term. We're not sure you're up to it. No one did that.
We did that. We got in the president's face. Well, I didn't just say you shouldn't run the second time, Biden. You shouldn't have run the first time. What they're trying to show is that the press didn't have access to Biden. So that's Alex Thompson, who's on there, who co-wrote the book with Jake Tapper. He's claiming we didn't have access. We couldn't have known. No, anyone with normal eyes can see and would have known. And they're trying to hide behind, we didn't have access. This is more excuses for why they don't apologize, including Alex Thompson, who barely said things like, hey, Biden has a tough time going up the stairs. That's the hardest criticism anyone on the left ever gave Biden.
The going out on The View basically to pre-butt this book and say I'm fine, which was clear from The View telecast he was not.
So we've already covered that. That was part of the cover-up. Part of the cover-up is they're letting Biden go out to tell all these lies.
Is this all coincidental?
Well,
is the timing of the diagnosis coincidental?
The diagnosis, I would say that even people, in my reporting with my colleague Mark Caputo, says even people that work for Joe Biden and Joe Biden's White House are suspicious of whether or not it is coincidental, and are suspicious of the fact that of the idea the diagnosis only came last Friday.
Even the diagnosis is part of the lie and part of the spin. That's coming from Biden's own staffers that are now questioning the timing of the release of his having cancer. They're even using that to promote their Democrat politics. They use it as cover. They use it as a shield. They use it to suck the air out of the room and redirect the conversation from the mass media cover-up to poor Biden. It's time for us to quell this discussion and quit criticizing him, and let's pray for him and all that. I have a even bigger conspiracy. We don't even know if Biden even has cancer. How would you know? I mean, when have the Bidens ever lied about something for political advantage? When has the media ever lied about something for Democrat political advantage? It would not surprise me if Biden didn't even have cancer. They haven't showed me his exams. I haven't seen the x-rays. I have no medical knowledge of it. All we know is that the pattern about this guy is everything you know about him has been a lie, and they don't even tell you the truth. I mean, whatever is a political advantage is what they'll say. And so I'm going to propose this. Even if Biden didn't have colon cancer or whatever the cancer is, they would still tell you he had cancer if they thought they could get away with it and if they thought they would benefit him. Maybe that's why we haven't heard about his diagnosis, is because they didn't make it up yet last week.
You know, even people that are loyal to Joe Biden, love Joe Biden, they have doubts about it, just because the timing does seem odd. You also had, Ezekiel Emanuel, like world famous physician who also worked in the Biden White House, say, well, from what we know, it looks like he definitely had cancer while he was president. And the White House is saying, well, we didn't know.
Yeah, this is in the past few minutes. Team Biden put out this statement saying that his PSA, the blood test, had never been done since 2014, and he had not been diagnosed before this. Obviously, based on this book and what's in it, you would say, why should we believe them?
These are Democrats saying we don't believe the Biden story that he got the PSA. I'm saying we have no reason to believe in the story. I have no reason to believe that he has cancer. I have no reason to believe that he's even alive right now, because they've lied so much. This is what happens when you live a life, a country, half of the country and the media, the people that are screening information back and forth to us when they're to be trusted as truth tellers, and they lie, 50% of the time at least. And then they go, well, trust us. This time for real. Boy who cried wolf. You cried wolf too many times and it didn't come. And they're going, no, but now the wolf really did come. I don't know that. Probably just another time that you guys are just lying. You know what the difference is between you guys lying and telling the truth? Because none of us can tell, because you do both with a straight face. Alejandro Mayorkas looking at you straight in the face. Alejandro Mayorkas going, the borders are secured. The borders are not open. Or Karine Jean-Pierre and Jen Psaki going, the president is so spry. 27-year-old women can't keep up with them. We can't keep up with the cripple who's dying, who has like stage 900 cancer. We can't keep up with them. They say it with a straight face. Here's Noah Rothman, a guy that I follow over at Commentary Magazine, says, rather than acknowledge the good faith in the public's confusion, Biden's handlers and allies have again defaulted to insisting that their critics and skeptics are maniacal liars. Biden are still blaming you. This is in the National Review. It is the inveterate liar's habit to retreat into more lies when confronted with their mendacity. That's because a liar lies. So everything falling out of these people's mouths, including Axios, including MSNBC, the Bidens, Jake Tapper especially, Axelrod, Obama, what are they going to do when they get caught in a lie? Their first instinct is going to be to lie. Perhaps we shouldn't expect anything less from Joe Biden's few remaining defenders. See, National Review still accuses the Bidens, and I think the lies are not just the Bidens, not just the Democrat Party, but at least half of America that voted for Kamala Harris are more comfortable with lies than telling the truth. Here's Jen Psaki This is from 2021. Jen Psaki says Biden is so fit that she has trouble keeping up with him. Would she like to rephrase that this week? She and Karine Jean-Pierre, that you can't keep up with a cripple with bone cancer who has dementia? Really? I wouldn't put that at the top of your resume, Jen. And then here's good old Jake Tapper. Now we're going to go into what else did they lie about? Well, how about Hunter Biden's laptop and Hunter Biden's character? Here's Jake Tapper, 2023.
There's no evidence to support the allegation my father was financially involved in my business because it did not happen. There's no fairness or decency in what these Republicans are doing. And I do have to say, whatever you think of Hunter Biden, and there's certainly a lot of people in this town, Democrats and Republicans, that do not think a lot of him, there is a certain kind of like cruelty to the campaign against him. Where is Hunter? Where is Hunter?
We were saying, where is Hunter? Where is Hunter? Because they were hiding him during the laptop scandal. Jake Tapper says that is being cruel. There's a certain cruelty to how we ask that question. Where's Hunter? Where's Hunter Biden? He calls it cruel. Now we're going to fast forward to today and let's see if Jake Tapper talks about him with kindness or cruelty.
Whereas Hunter was driving the decision making for the family in a way that people, he was almost like a chief of staff of the family.
Does that strike you as pretty bizarre?
It's bizarre because I think he is provably, demonstrably unethical, sleazy, and prone to horrible decisions.
Republicans are cruel when we say that he is immoral and sleazy. And now Jake Tapper, you got to wear your own standard. Your own standard is that you're cruel for saying that, because we knew we were telling the truth about Hunter and you decided to call us cruel, same way that you called Laura Trump cruel for saying that it wasn't Biden's stutter, but it was his mental decline. You impugned her character. This man with a straight face and with his humility, you know, he's not a screamer, you know, like Joy Reid or like Rachel Maddow. He has a very soft demeanor, but his words are just as evil. And remember, they'd still be doing it if they didn't get caught. They're not sorry they got caught. If they didn't get caught and if they won the election, we would all still be having to listen to them say, Hunter and Biden and Joe Biden are some of the most generous public servants in the world. And people who criticize them, what's wrong with you? You're cruel. You're mean, is how this works. Here's another great post from Stephen Miller. Every single person knows who the cocaine belonged to. This is about the cocaine found in the White House under Hunter Biden. But journalists actually doing journalism would have discovered that the conditions of Hunter Biden's plea deal meant he stayed sober and clean. And if he violated that, then Joe Biden's only surviving son would be going to prison. Now there's nothing to lose. And they have books to sell. So here's BT, Democrats. Here's hoping someone can solve the mystery of who left the cocaine at the White House. Guys, this has far-reaching implications. You ain't seen nothing yet on the reveal. And then here's our special non-news hacks over at MSNBC. Joe and Mika are always the last to know.
PSA test. Once every 6
doctors
months.
are like, sir,
Once every 6 months. You got to get it. I don't know a doctor that doesn't say that.
Yeah. So we're also going to talk with the authors of a new book entitled Original Sin. And this is the title, President Biden's Decline, Its Cover-Up, and His Disastrous Choice to Run Again. The authors, Jake Tapper and Alex Thomas.
Oh, I hadn't even heard of this book. This is Jake Tapper's book, MSNBC yesterday, the last to know about it. We're going to talk about this new book. Have you heard about the media cover-up? I wonder what Mika and Joe will say of Jake Tapper finally discovering that some people in media, I wonder if we can think of two people, a married couple over at MSNBC that participated in a cover-up. Let me know in the comments below. Do you think Mika and Joe will figure it out?
Subscribe to my son.
Thanks, Mom. I'm Doug,